At this point we have reached almost the last step of our edit, and we will sharpen the image. After sharpening we can perform further tweaks if needed, but the final step is to sharpen the image. To sharpen the photograph, we are going to flatten all the layers that we have created, all those adjustment layers. But by flattening, I don't mean getting rid of all these adjustments. Let's just get back to my layers panel. I'm hitting function F7. I still want to keep all these adjustment layers in case I would like to change the edit in the future. So I'm not going to get rid of all these layers. Instead, I'm going to create another layer at the top of this layer stack, which will contain all these adjustment layers, which will contain the image as it looks right now. So to create the stamp layer, select the top layer and then hit on your keyboard Alt-Shift-Command-E. With this shortcut, you have created a stamp mask, the flat layer. The shortcut, I will repeat again, is Alt-Shift-Command-E. Now, having this flat layer on top of all our layers, we can perform sharpening. Okay, so to sharpen the image, it's important to look at our photograph at 1:1, at 100%. So this is zoomed out, this is zoomed in, to make sure without moving back to this display window, which takes more space. So I'm hitting F again. To display image at 100%, simply hit Alt-Command-0 on your keyboard. That way you can see the image is displayed at 100% and I don't need this other bar here that takes space of my screen. Okay, so having the stamp layer created and looking at our image at 100%, we have to change the blend mode of this stamp layer from normal to overlay. Just select from this drop-down menu overlay. Now let's move over to the Photoshop menu bar and let's select filter. Let's move all the way down, almost all the way down to other, and from here select high pass. So now I have the high pass pop-up window available, and it's important to look at the image at 1:1 when sharpening. Now by pulling this slider towards the right hand side, I will be adding sharpness. However, I don't want to overdo this. I want to get really subtle results, and I will mask this layer further as well. I just want to have the sharpening applied over his eyes, the hair, all those elements in the foreground. I'm happy with 1.2. I don't want to go any further. Let's hit OK, and by toggling this layer on and off, you can see that the sharpening that I have applied is very subtle, however it is visible. Remember that when you are working directly with the high pass pop-up window, with the high pass panel, it's really tempting to push further. But when you apply the effect, it's already visible that the change, the adjustment in sharpness is pretty significant. Okay, so now let's just mask this layer, since I don't want to sharpen everything. I don't want to sharpen the background. I just want to have these adjustments visible on the plants, on his face, on the hair, and a bit on the texture here on his jumper. So to add mask to this layer, before when we were working with adjustment layers, those masks were applied automatically by Photoshop. When we created new layer, it doesn't have mask. But to add mask to our layer, it's a very straightforward process. We have to just go over to this little icon, and having the top layer selected that we want to mask, let's hit on this little icon here. That way we have added mask to our top layer. Now the layer is white, the mask is white, so we can see all this sharpening, all these adjustments. To apply sharpening only to selected areas, let's invert this mask. I'm hitting Command I. Now I will be painting with a white color to reveal the sharpening. So I just want to get back to my Tools panel, and to make sure that I'm painting with a white color, I have to hit X on my keyboard to swap between these color samples. Now I have white color selected. I'm hitting B on my keyboard to select brush. I need to decrease size of the brush, and opacity 60 is fine. So I just want to paint over his face, the eyes, and now decreasing size of the brush and painting over the plant. Remember that we don't want to sharpen this part of plant that are out of focus. To keep it realistic, let's move only over this part of plants that are in focus, are already sharp, so that way we will build up, we will strengthen the already existing effect. We can sharpen this part as well. I moved a little bit over here, so I'm going to swap colors. I'm hitting X on my keyboard and just painting over the background. I would like to introduce a bit more sharpness on his jumper, so I'm hitting X again to swap these colors. I will be painting now with a white color, which will apply sharpness. Okay, so that way we have applied sharpness to our image. This is the final stage after applying sharpness, after sharpening, and this is the stage before sharpening. As you can see, the result is pretty subtle, but it's still visible and it enhances the image a lot.